for this?
Welcome back, TPR Nation. This is Jamie Shalansky and another episode of Worlds to Conquer. Surge is dedicated time on our calendars where we as financial advisors will be meeting with clients. And we are not open for clients all 52 weeks out of the year to schedule appointments, barring any emergencies, right? And those emergencies, if you've been listening, are already defined for us and our team. You know, if there's a death, if there's a divorce, somebody lose their job, somebody's going to buy or sell a business or a giant piece of real estate that's going to result in a multi-million-dollar event. Those are big things that people get on our calendar for in between surges. But our surges are dedicated time blocking periods and within the calendar. At Shalansky & Associates, we do 3 surges. We have our big spring surge, and that is generally mid-March to mid-April. Why that time period? We do mid-March to mid-April because we find that as clients and prospects alike are getting information together for their CPAs or their tax professionals or preparing their income tax return themselves, they're really in that mode to look at their finances, ask questions, gather information, and of course, in turn, hand that information over to us. We partner at Shalansky & Associates with Retirement Tax Services, so we have the advantage of not only being the middleman in the tax preparation process, but we also get to be the one that the CPA is consulting with before they go consult with the client. Tired of being run over the bus? Check out retirementtaxservices.com and you'll meet Stephen Jarvis. He's a fantastic CPA and one that when he notices something is askew on the client's tax return, or they're going to have a large liability, or we missed a deduction somewhere along the way, he calls us as the financial advisor before he calls the client so that we can all be enlightened at the same time. Huge value add we added in 2021 for clients, and it's been phenomenal. So as we get into the mode of the spring surge, we found that clients are super hyperactive in getting us information, and it's a really great time to meet with them during that time period. It's also a dynamic time to provide them with stellar tax advice. This is generally in our office where we have rolled out our value add, which is the 1099 letter, which gives the clients a checklist of everything that they should be expecting in the mail or email for the upcoming tax year. Then we go into our summer surges, and those are scheduled every couple of weeks, so it's a less condensed period of time here at Shalansky & Associates, simply because we're responsive to the way that clients like to be communicated with in that period. And then we go into our fall surge, and our fall surge is normally mid-October to mid-November. During this time, we're doing a lot of conversations about Roth conversions if they hadn't been done earlier in the year. We're doing year-end tax preparation, and we're also hitting those beneficiary designations. We rotate our value adds. So every 2 years, we'll bring in our beneficiary report and we'll go over all of those listed with the clients, make sure that everything is tip top. They don't want to make any changes. This is also a really great time that we strengthen relationships with our center of influences in the legal community. So we do a lot of attorney meetings during this time period. We also do a lot of family meetings for estate planning. And if you want to know more about how we run family meetings for estate planning, and if you're not already doing this, it is a huge value add to your clients, especially if you want to work with legacy clients. Hit us up at lifestyle@theperfectra.com. We'll give you some more information about how you can learn more about estate planning and doing family meetings. Between the holiday period, estate planning attorneys will tell you that they are the absolute busiest. Why? Because families are getting together and all of a sudden you're like, wow, I don't really think I should be leaving you everything. Let me make some changes to that will, to that trust, to that beneficiary designation. Or on the more positive note, maybe we're adding new people to the family through births, through marriages, etc. And you want to make some adjustments during that period. So that's a recap on what surges are and why we choose those particular time periods at Shalansky & Associates, our RIA. So now let's dive into what does this really mean in translation when it comes to your team and to your clients? Well, at Shalansky & Associates, we have literally hundreds of prospects that call our office to get on the schedule to meet with one of our financial advisor every single year. But we only have a limited availability. Now, we've done this intentionally on the limited availability because we're strong believers in surge and making sure that you are being super dynamic and intentional with your time. So when it comes to the team, this also acts as a great placeholder. The team knows when we can get clients in, and they know when we can get prospects in. And if there are big interludes of time between when a prospect or client calls and when the next availability for an appointment is in our office, our team is empowered, our relationship managers, to have those conversations and make sure that, one, does that client or prospects always need to meet with the financial advisor, but does that client really need to meet with that financial advisor? And in our office, that is when decisions about money need to be made, when they need financial planning advice. But if they need to update their address, if they need a one-time distribution from an account that's already being distributed from, there are a lot of different things that go to if they need a COI referral, there's a lot of different things that go to our team members that don't come to the financial planner themselves. Much like when you call your doctor's office, you probably never call your doctor's office and get your doctor right on the phone. Instead, they've got a list of protocols that they go through to make sure that the doctor's time is spent the most dynamically helping the patients that need medical advice. Just like that, in the world of finance, you should be dealing with clients that need financial planning advice, and your team should be handling everything else. So we've got some great scripts. We've also got some excellent processes about if this, then that, so that the team also knows how and when they can contact us if a client is insisting about getting in sooner than in between surges. So we've really empowered them that they are able to make those decisions and given them the placeholders to do so. And then it also allows our team to structure their year. And so one of the things that we're really adamant about in the office, and this can be very difficult for new people, particularly new financial advisors joining our practice. The surge schedule is set almost a year in advance. We always know when we're going to be doing surge. And when it's set by our leadership team, it is set. So one of the things that I have to navigate around is a firm policy on how our office handles paid time off. So we have a generous compensation package for our employees, and they are allowed to take personal time off every single year. It's a tiered system. The longer that you work with us, the more time that you get off with us. After 5 years, we give you almost 30 days paid holidays, in addition to all the days that the New York Stock Exchange is closed, with one rule and caveat: you cannot take PTO during surge. So here's a pro tip. When my team comes to talk to me and says, hey, I've got a question, can I get some time on your calendar? They schedule it. We open up that question time. I say, how do you do? I say, you can ask me anything you want as long as it's not for time off during surge, because my answer to that is going to be no. And all of a sudden, now we've got this standard predicated. We are very, very disciplined at Shalansky & Associates, and there are not a lot of exceptions to this rule. And this is true for our financial advisors. Sometimes our financial advisors, there's 5 of us, want to be able to push the surge 1 week this way or 1 week that way, forward or backwards. And the answer on that is generally no, unless we have a really good reason to do so. And the reason I'm no on the financial advisors is because now you have put my team in perpetual surge. Because for me and my office, when the financial advisors are getting ready for surge, about 3 weeks prior to surge beginning, our relationship managers are working in overtime. They've got to get nearly 600 households scheduled and on the calendar in a short period of time. They've got to reach out to every single one of those and gather information. We've got a checklist of items that I want prior to each surge that the client needs to provide to us on time. That means we use Box.com as a secure way for clients to send us information. So if the client is having a hard time logging in or needs a demo of how to use that service again, then they've got to give that one-on-one hands time, because the rule in our office is that every client needs to feel like our only client every single time. So if they forget how to upload something in a Box.com, you bet your bottom dollar you're doing a screen share and walking it through. We've even had clients come down to the office and ask if they could carve out time to meet with Sierra and have Sierra show them on their device how they upload documents and get it to us efficiently. So I want that concierge level of service continually, which means my relationship managers prior to surge are super, super busy. Once they get that information, they got to get it over into our electronic database. They've got to scrub it for the things we want. And just prior to their appointment, they've got to go out to all of those clients and they got to get all the questions that the client has. Those questions are delivered into every appointment. So prior to me going into that appointment as a financial advisor, I'm never caught with my pants down. As long as the client provided me with questions, I've had time to do research and make sure that I know what they want to discuss and give them that information. Our surges are ebbed and flowed around the value adds that we'll be delivering. But if I'm delivering a value add on a beneficiary report and my client has a burning question on real estate or selling their business, guess what they don't care about? That beneficiary report, right? So I want to make sure that I'm addressing their questions first and foremost, and then I'll table my stuff for the agenda after we've made sure that they're taken care of. So no time off happens during surge. Hard rule for me in my office. Outside of that, a lot of flexibility. Now, post-surge, as we get done with surge, that is when my operations team is in hyperactivity mode. Not only are they responsible for the movement of money, but that's a lot of paperwork to get that money moved. In fact, one of the rules in our office is that financial advisors, when they're meeting with clients, cannot excuse themselves from the meeting, leave the conference room, pop back to the operations team and say, by the way, I'm going to open up a new account, 5 new accounts, do a wire transfer, etc. Could you stop everything that you're doing right now and been hyper focused on and come attend to my immediate need, right? And in our office, what we do is we have a swear jar for financial advisors that break the process. Our whole team participates in this. The team puts in a little bit less money, but a financial advisor has to put $1,000 to $10,000 into the swear jar if they break the process in our office. One of the processes is we don't do same day paperwork. So if you're in the conference room and you need to get a client to sign documents and forms, you would simply bring in the relationship manager. She would schedule a secondary service appointment with one of our operations teams, and then they have the time to prepare the paperwork, make sure everything is in good order, and get the client's signature so we can deliver a beautiful process of making sure that we're taking care of the client, getting all the signatures signed one time, and processing everything with beautiful execution. So if we break this rule as a financial advisor, we pop out, we feel we have an emergency. Matthew Jarvis calls it ringing the gong in his office. We go back to our team members, we ring that gong, we disturb everything that they're doing, then there better be a really good reason for us doing so. Does that mean I will never break this process? No, but that means that there's a repercussion if I do. And it also sets the precedence for my team that I know I'm breaking the process. I'm not asking them to be hyper-disciplined and me to be casual or lackadaisical about what I'm doing. Last surge, I had to break the process with a client that's very difficult to be in person because they're an executive and fly all around the world. And they said, hey, I'm ready to transfer all those accounts we've been talking about for years. Go ahead and give me the forms. I'll sign them right now. This is the only day I'm going to be in town. I went back to my operations lead, said, hey, I need this paperwork. The client's up front. He's going to be here for about another 30, 45 minutes. Can your team get it together? And she respectfully looks at me and says, we can. This will be breaking the process. Are we sure we want to execute that? And I looked at her and I said, yep, it was a risk reward, right? Yes, I need to break the process in this situation. I will pay the fine. And I've also set the precedence with the team that if I'm asking them to do something emergent, it is for good cause because they know it's also costing me in that scenario. All right, so we've talked a lot about surge, which is this dynamic time of year that we time block all of our appointments, so we're working at hyper efficiency levels. And what it really does is that it acts as a really good placeholder for our clients. So we're scheduling surge about when it is going to be of most value to our clients. And in finance, we've been able to ebb and flow that around certain calendar events that happen that put clients already in the mentality to tackle their finances, make big decisions, and get into their financial planning. It also allows us as the financial advisor and our team to structure the year in advance. It's really powerful. If you're implementing Surge for the very first time, I love doing a collaborative session with my team members. And I love introducing what this is about. I make sure that they have all the training in front of them. And then we sit down with the calendar. It's a big rollout one that's a dry erase. And we say, okay, great. When do we need to schedule Surge? And we block out those weeks, right? Backing into math, how many clients do we need to see? How many appointments do we need to see a day? And how many weeks do we need to make this happen? And then we block off that time as a team. Why am I doing that as a team? Do I already know what dates I'm going to do? Yep, sure do. But I need my team's buy-in and I need their commitment that yes, this is the number one priority is taking care of clients and delivering massive value and scheduling our surge. Now, the second thing that I do after I schedule surge and I get in all of those placeholders and I say, hey, listen, I know that RMs, you guys are going to be super busy about 3 weeks before surge. Ops team, I know you're going to be really busy 3 weeks after surge. So let's make sure that we're giving all of our vacation time. And I want you to proactively think about when you need to take time off in the year. So if you can, I want you guys thinking about what weeks you want off so that we can sit here and we can plan your recovery time, which is just as important to me as my own recovery time, and let's get those penciled out. Now, do they always know when they're going to take vacation because things can come up like weddings and funerals and all of those events? No, of course not. But now I've reinforced to them that I, as a leader, have prioritized how important it is for them to recover just as much as it is for me. The perfect RA is 100% about action items. So as we wrap up this deep dive into how surge actually works in our office, I want you to have a few takeaways. Number one, set your surge schedule a year out. Do it with your team. Do it collaboratively. Get the calendar. Get the big year-long wall calendar. Get the colored markers out. Roll it out in front of you guys. Talk about the different times of year. Talk about when it's most important for clients to be seen. Back into the math, and at least if you're doing this for the very first time and implementing surge in your office, get your entire team's buy-in for this. Get their collaboration and be open to their insight that they might know the clients a little bit more than you do in some respects of when calendars work. For example, taking school calendars into considerations. You might not think about days off or spring breaks or vacation times for kids, but your team might, and that might be a problematic time for them to schedule clients. So be open to their feedback, but make sure that you're sculpting surge around when is most beneficial. We at TPR think that you should just rip off and deploy. Take the surge schedule that I just gave you for Shalinsky & Associates, right? So we're going to do it in the spring, we're going to do it in the summer, and we're going to do it in the fall. That's what makes the most sense for clients. All right. Second of all, make sure that you're sitting down with your team and giving them a preemptive opportunity to schedule their paid time off. Talk with your team about how important recovery is to performance athletes. And when we go through surge, that's what this is, right? We're at our A game. They are at their A game. And therefore, they're going to need time to replenish their cup just like you do. So make sure you're doing this. All right. Third action item that you really need to make sure that you're doing with your team is outline what value adds that you're going to offer clients 1 year in advance. There are no surprises. We don't sit down with our team and say, what are we going to offer this surge? No, we've already got that calendar. We've already got those kinks figured out a year in advance. This also allows them in between surge times to make sure that we're getting the information necessary from the clients in order to provide that value add during that surge. It allows your team to know what's coming up. And for the best execution of value adds, always have your team member do it for themselves, their own household. If you're not doing financial planning with your team members, then they don't really understand what you do as a career. I promise you that is true. So make sure you're doing your value adds with your team members first before you roll them out to clients. That way, a lot of the team members, as long as it's not about planning advice, can offer the clients a lot of valuable information about how to navigate that value add. Really, really important here. All right, this is Jamie Shalansky. This has been a Worlds to Conquer episode where we take a deeper dive into the actual application within your office on how to run surge.
Hold on before we go. Something that you need to know. This isn't tax, legal, or investment advice. That isn't our intent. Information designed to change lives. Financial planning can make you thrive. Start today, don't think twice. Be a better husband, father, mother, and wife.